is very relevant, but if you have any question, feel free to reach out.
Thanks, Rodrigo. I appreciate it. Why don't we turn it over into some Q&A real quick. John, do you want to add any comments at this point?
I noticed that the Titan process is a little different than maybe some other cement companies. I had suggested that the wire from the bead wire displaces iron that would otherwise have to be added, but I see that Titan uses a wire-free chip. So not every company has the same process. The ground rubber markets, which we see as growing right now, include rubber modified asphalt. Terry talked about that. We would like to see rubber modified asphalt growth because that is a circular and sustainable market. When rubber modified asphalt, which is more durable and lasts longer, reaches the end of its useful life, it can be stripped up and used as a recycled asphalt pavement. The other ground rubber markets include synthetic turf, which has had its ups and downs due to health complaints that have not been scientifically validated, but are nonetheless, a very real social phenomenon. So that's been a fairly steady market. It's actually been growing right now as we hear it. And it can have a bit of circularity in certain circumstances, because at the end of the mulch's useful life, when the field is rehabilitated, that can be reused as a base in a new field. So that's another application that's out there. Mulch, both landscape and playground, has been growing. And then you get to molded and extruded products. Those types of products have also been growing. They consist a lot of mats, for example, horse mats, doormats, mats of all kinds. Mats would sound like one thing, but there's dozens of different types of mats. Flooring is a growing market. Bases, sign bases in the construction field, sign bases, delineator bases, and the like. The bottoms of drums and cones used in highway construction are typically recycled rubber material, often truck tire tread walls. The infrastructure applications, we think, should spur rubber modified asphalt and molded and extruded products, particularly if there's purchasing preferences for those products containing recycled materials. Very minor use in the automotive applications, either old vulcanized ground tire rubber going into new tires, or into coatings, sealants, blended with plastic to make plastic rubber products, brake shoes, and the like. Those are small uses and take a lot of effort to grow. So there's a lot of applications out there. And Florida's done some great work in the past with grants to assist counties in getting new products and encourage those types of markets to grow. Playgrounds nowadays often have a pour-in-place rubber surface. The civil engineering markets really shouldn't be left behind either in any conversation of end-use markets right now, because of the infrastructure applications there. As lightweight fill, I would think in certain circumstances, Florida may require some lightweight fill in its construction. This is an excellent application for tire-derived aggregate. Many highway applications, drainage applications. You can build over a tire-derived aggregate retention pond on a property and put a parking lot on top of it, using the subsurface of the parking lot as the retention basin. And this enables a more efficient use of the landscape. So there's just a tremendous number of new end markets that could be developed. We want to make sure that the most sustainable and circular end use markets are what we're focusing on for future growth. And that opens the door a little bit into pyrolysis, which is a circular end-use market for tires. It's using less than 1% of the scrap tires in the United States today, but there is great potential. There has been great potential for a long time, but we're seeing a couple differences. The first being that tire manufacturers have entered into business arrangements with reclaimed carbon black manufacturers who are making reclaimed carbon black from pyrolysis operations. So that's pulling some tires into pyrolysis, into new tires in a very circular kind of way. And the tire companies want to see more sustainable and circular content in new tires. So I think the pyrolysis has also in Europe, there's been an announcement that Michelin has partnered with Enviro Systems, a pyrolysis company, to put up enough plants to consume 100 million scrap tires by 2030, which is maybe a third of what Europe is consuming. This would be a massive investment, and they were joined by a financing company. I think they were called Acela. So this seems to be a very serious proposal to move forward and vastly expand that industry in Europe, which would tend to cause expansion in the US as well, beyond the handful, and I mean 2 or 3 commercially operating full-scale pyrolysis plants that operate today in the US. Again, consuming less than 1% of our scrap tires, less than 3 million a year. But I just wanted to make sure we touched on the wide variety of markets that would be available, and turn it back to you, Gene.
All right, thank you. That's a great segue when you mentioned pyrolysis, because I know Terry has got some slides on pyrolysis that we can share with everybody. Why don't we do this? I want to continue this discussion on market developments, because I think that's one of the most critical things that we need to be talking about. Why don't we take a 10-minute break? All right, everybody get a chance in person to get a cup of coffee, visit the restrooms if you need to do that. Virtual attendees, hang on with us. We'll be right back. Give us 10 minutes and we'll start again.